Okay, for this project, you're going to be painting a scene that you choose. It could be anything. It could be a portrait, it could be a landscape, it could be whatever. It could be a family photo of some kind. It could be a picture of you and your friends. Okay, I just chose this one online. Just, that's what I chose, whatevs. Now, I am not going to be painting this true to these colors, okay? I'm painting the outlines of all the things you see here. It's going to be the same outlines, but every color is going to be not realistic. So every color I'm choosing based on not being true to what you would expect it to be, okay? And we're going to see what happens. So it's going to be kind of an expressionistic painting, okay? It's a lot of fun to play with color in that way. So it's always interesting to see where it takes you when you deliberately choose to use colors that are not true to what you'd expect. So this is the image. Now you would select whether you bring in your photo from home or not, just make sure that we somehow get it online. So you can email it to yourself, that's fine. But we have to get it on a screen so that it's easier to work with. Okay, so we got it on a screen. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay it down on my desk. So the actual screen part of my computer is gonna lay on the desk, so it's flat. You're gonna make the image as big as you can. And then you're gonna get a transparency like this. And you're gonna simply lay it over the image, okay? Then you're gonna get your Sharpie and you're going to trace all of the lines, okay? So all of the outlines, like the outline of these trees, the outline of these little bushes, the outline of the hillside, the outline of the person. The one thing I'm not going to be tracing is the texture. So anything inside of this whole area that is not distinct, all this grass is very textured, but I'm not going to do anything with my line. I'm just going to be tracing over the distinct shapes that I see. So that's a distinct shape, right? So I trace them. The whole hillside is a distinct shape. The person is a distinct shape. The mountains are a distinct shape, etc. I'm not doing anything here with this sunset. I'm just making the distinct line of this mountainside, okay? The color will come, I do this just with color, okay? So once I do that, I will have something that looks like this, okay? So this is the transparency version of this, okay? Now, what I have to do is get my mixed media painting paper and put it over my tracing, and then I need to make that into a pencil version, okay? So I would put it over like this, but I notice that when I try to trace, I can't see very well through the paper. So what we do is we go back to our screen. Just keep your screen on the table like I have here. I'm just gonna go to a new screen and I'm gonna type in white screen. And there's one from YouTube that works really well because you can make it huge. So once that comes up, I'll make it full size. And then you can make your the light source from the computer brighter. Okay, so I put down my tracing in Sharpie, and then I simply put the paper over it, and I can clearly see all of my lines. Okay, so I'm just going to be tracing over all the lines that I've already made, but I can see them very clearly now because they're coming through my computer screen and there's a light behind them. Okay, so I continue doing that until I have that whole thing completely done. Okay, so this is what you will have. Okay, so now I don't need my computer anymore because I'm deliberately not using the reference. Okay, so I'm just going to close this up, and this is the paper that I'm using. Now this is the fun part, okay? So now we decide how we want to paint this. Remember, we're deliberately not painting it colors that should be there. So for example, this hillside that was kind of like golden grass and brown and green grass, I'm not gonna use any of those colors. I'm gonna use something crazy, something outlandish, right? So maybe I'll use, I might not go with blue because that might look like this is a lake or something. I think I'm gonna go with like a really, really bright red. And before I do that, I want to get my brush activated. So I'm going to wet my brush a little bit. And then I'll go back into this really, really bright vermilion. Okay. This is like an orange, like a hot orange kind of. I'm just going to have fun with this. I'm going to keep this inside of the areas that I said it was going to be. And don't be afraid of texture, because that's what's going to make it so much better. Okay, so don't just make it one color and you know, just one saturated color. You can play with mixing colors just as long as they are not the realistic colors that were in the photo. So that's the whole point, is this is more an expressive version of color. Okay, even the brush strokes alone can be really nice as texture. Okay, maybe I'll go in with some yellow just to mix it up and see what happens, and leave some of those brush strokes there just to make it more interesting. If you notice that your brush strokes are getting streaky like that, it's because it doesn't have enough moisture. So that could be either you need to add a little water to it, or you just need to add more paint, or a little bit of both. So this is the beginning of my not realistic hillside, which is like flaming orange, which is really cool. And I would do the same thing over here. And then I'm going to switch colors. My trees, these little bunches of trees, they were really dark. They were like a dark green or even black. Make sure that you blot. So always wash your brush and then blot. These are going to be now, I'm going to make them blue. So these trees are going to be blue now. So again, you're not doing anything that would be realistic, and that's the fun of it. And you just see where that takes you. So you're going to start making color decisions based on what you've already painted, and what colors are going to be touching the things you just painted. So if I just painted blue trees here, then what should I make my sky? Because the trees have a background, which is the sky here. Okay, I know I'm not going to do a blue sky because that's a realistic color for the sky, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, let's see what would happen if we put like a bright green as the sky. That could be really fun. Okay, so I'm not going to finish this painting, obviously. You guys get the idea now. I just want you to have a lot of fun with it. I want you to really experiment with different textures in your paint. So mixing some colors together to get different textures, and also playing with your brush strokes themselves, because just the strokes themselves, like you see here with the green, can give it a lot of really interesting texture. Okay, so you have the idea. Enjoy. Can't wait to see what you make.